Fox News alert, a live look in Newfoundland, Canada, where search efforts are growing more desperate by the hour as the missing titanic-submersible and the 5 people stuck inside could run out of oxygen by tomorrow. Our next guest has gone down to the Titanic wreckage in this exact vessel, including a trip with his friend, famed Titanic explorer Paul Henry Nargilai, who remains among those missing. Pennsylvania businessman and explorer Fred Hagen joins us now. Fred, can you explain to me the safety protocols you go through before taking this exploration?
Yes, there were safety protocols in place. And now I know there's a big controversy now that there's been a catastrophe. People are second guessing and wondering why there weren't backup systems. We were all told, intimately informed that this was a dangerous mission that could result in death or injury. So that was well understood. We were versed in how the sub operated. We were versed in various protocols, but there's a limit to the safe. I mean, it's not a safe operation inherently. And that's part of research and development and exploration and experimentation. That's part and parcel of this. If the Wright brothers had crashed on their first flight, they would have still left the bonds of Earth and they would have crashed. They had no backup system. And Stockton Rush is a visionary who's trying to democratize the depths, trying to open up the ocean. And that was not possible without risk. And I know there's a big controversy about wealthy people funding this. That's how Stockton funded this cutting edge technology to open up the depths of the ocean and allow us access to the elements we need to power the green economy. And that's how he went about it. And yes, it would have been nice if it was government funded. This is a privately funded operation. And yes, they took people to the Titanic because it's an iconic place and it enabled them to get the funding to enable them to continue their research and development for scientific purposes. It was not safe, and we understood that.
Fred, can you tell me about Paul? What type of guy is he?
PH, Paul Henry. Paul Henry is one of the most wonderful, warm human beings I've ever met. He is a living legend in the deep dive community, and even people I've heard that are critical of what OceanGate has attempted to do agree that Paul Henry Nargilai, who we know as PH, is one of the finest and most consummate professionals in the deep dive industry. He's an icon, a living legend, and I say that in the dearest hope that our good friend PH is alive today.
Fred, and we're all praying for all of those that are in there, but we're on the 24-hour mark now. Do you see help coming to them soon, or are we preparing for the worst?
As long as there is the chance of them surviving and coming back to us alive, we have to focus only on rescue. And there will be a time, unfortunately, when if the rescue does not happen, that focus may change. But right now, we have to believe that we have to make every effort. I was critical earlier in the week. There was a unit called the Magellan that was able to come and assist, and apparently there was some reluctance to process the paperwork to allow it to get involved. And I was critical of that. But the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Canadians, they're all doing great work and making the greatest effort and commendable efforts. But I was very, very disappointed that the Magellan was not brought on site earlier in the week. Everyone is trying hard. This is a desperate situation, not trying to take away from that. And again, for those of us that know the people on board, this is heartrending. It's tragic, and you want desperately for a miracle, and you grasp at every straw. But yeah, we have to proceed as if our friends will still come up alive, because there were sounds that were heard yesterday.
Fred, I have to
pick up sonar signatures.
I'm sorry, because I have to ask, as someone that is very experienced and knows this sub, what do you think went wrong?
No one knows exactly what went wrong. If there had been a leak and an implosion, they would have been killed instantly. Now, if the Canadians actually picked up a sonar signature yesterday, that clearly did not happen. Now, that may be an error. That may be a sound that was erroneously attributed to the sub, but we have to assume that the sounds that they picked up were from the submersible.
Yeah.
So if they're still alive, there was not a leak and there was not an implosion. In that case, they're either stuck in a fishing net, or they're stuck on some piece of the wreckage, or they had a catastrophic power failure, and they're, for whatever reason we don't understand, they were unable to resurface, because normally with a power failure, they would have still been able to resurface with or without the crew members being conscious.
Roger that.
So we don't understand exactly what happened. It's just pure guesswork.
Well, at this point, Fred, all we can do is offer our prayers to everyone involved, and we're praying for the families and friends as well. Thanks so much for coming on the program this morning.
And thank you for your interest.
My pleasure.